So, Andrew, we're here
All right.
na Podlasiu in northeastern Poland, the birthplace of you, my roots, your family roots, and then for both of us, life took us to the U.S. You spent over almost 20 years.
23 years.
23 years in the
23
U.S.
years.
That's wild. I spent 23, 24 years in the U.S. too,
All
and I was
right.
born there. That's so cool. And our lives kind of came together in a unique way where we both help great companies in the U.S. build teams of people in Poland. Maybe in different worlds. I do it a little bit more in the logistics supply chain space. You do it a little bit more in the IT programming software space. And I suppose we're here. We came out with your team, your company, the Blue Rider team. We had an amazing time here in the ranch. No, Char Podlasia, which means the spell of Podlasia, where I think we should definitely be inviting our clients out here to do meets. I mean, we've got goat, we've just got so much nature. It's gorgeous. It's a nice,
It's
beautiful
actually
place.
they can see it in the background, I suppose.
Yeah, we got some sheep walking around here, ducks, and it's wild. It's wild.
These are geese.
Geese. Yeah, you're right. Touche. Touche. Yeah, and so yeah, so we'll be kind of talking and trying to identify kind of the challenges and the problems that clients in the U.S. are having, and kind of we'll talk through that first. I suppose we can start there, and
Sure.
and go. So
Sure. Yeah. So as I was saying, when I was kind of thinking about what I want to talk about today was the 2 points of view, right? One is the pain points and concerns of the clients, but then we have our own pain points and concerns when we deal with remote clients. So, and obviously, I know more about the latter, but I basically I didn't want to make anything up, so I'm thinking about the clients that we've had so far and we still have. What are the major concerns? And probably at the top of my list is that there are often things that things don't move along as quickly as they want, right? Because in our business, I don't know how it compares to yours, but in our business, the clients have a list of features that they want to have in their applications, and often they think that this shouldn't take more than a couple of days, couple of weeks, and then it takes a couple of months. Right? So the concern is that, and our people work very hard, so we don't have any slackers or anything like that, and so the concern here, or the problem here, is that we have to somehow convey to them why is it taking so long, right?
Because this is not a challenge that only clients from the U.S. or from anywhere in the world that are hiring outsourced teams.
Right.
They very often teams will overpromise, companies will overpromise that they can get it done in X time, and very often that is not delivered because of the nature of the business that you're in.
It's not quite. You actually brought up an important point. This pain point is not specific to remote clients. The clients that are here have the same concerns. So as a matter of fact, on my list of things, nothing was really very specific to being remote. Because our clients, even if they're NBO stuff, they're not in the same office. It doesn't matter that we can, meet with them in half an hour, right? In person. No, so we never overpromise. This is how we run things. That we have certain procedures that we follow. We're very rigorous about this, and so one thing is that we organize our work in 2 week. We call them sprints.
Okay, so
when the client will say, "Here's what you're gonna get in next 2 weeks."
Okay.
Right? And then if it's 2 weeks, it's really hard to slip, right? Plus, it's not that the client will tell us, "Well, then in these 2 weeks you need to do A, B, C, and D." We tell them what we're capable of doing, but then when we say that, we have to deliver, right? So I'd say that it doesn't happen often, although it does happen that we slip a deadline, but still, even if we tell them, if the client tells you, well, I want A, B, C, and D by the end of the 2 weeks, and we look at what he needs and say, well, we can give you half of A in 2 weeks. You know? So this is something that there is that's a challenge to convey to them. So why is it taking so long? Right? And that to a great respect, it really depends on how much the client knows about the software development cycles, right? So we have some technical clients that understand how things work, and others they don't, right?
Yeah, others will think that maybe you guys are slacking or other reasons, and they don't believe.
Right.
And I think I think that might be one of the biggest strengths that you guys have. I feel like, because you guys have been in business over 15 years now,
Right.
and you've developed this ability to have those difficult conversations within your team and with your clients. So that's a conversation that a lot of times I think, like, more starting out, I think that's what frustrates companies, is they'll hire a new team to help them with something like this, and that team will tell them something where it's undeliverable, and then they'll start delaying and making up things, and they don't just have that great conversation up front and set the expectations. And I think that's what you guys do really well. Like, up front, you guys will tell your clients.
Right. Yeah, I want to be even more specific, because we the way that we organize our teams, we have obviously programmers, we have QA engineers responsible for testing and assessing quality of the product, but the key person in the team is always the project manager, and because these people are responsible for communications with the client. Our clients are many of them are in the US, so depending on time zone, there is 6 to 9 hours away. So direct conversations, even on video conferences, is challenging, because when they're in bed and we're working, when we're in bed, they're up, right? So PM is the one who takes that on, and they either
The communication between the client
and here the personal traits are absolutely, you cannot undervalue them. So you can have all the procedures and all the processes in the world, but at the end it's a person delivering the message that can make a huge difference. And I guess we are very lucky that we have PMs that do it very, very well. They gain the trust of the client. So, for instance, if the client thinks that things are not moving along quickly enough, the PM will spend some time explaining how things work, why it is taking so long, and then at the end, it's really up to the client. Is the client going to believe and take this for granted that this is the way it is, or are they going to just be left with doubts, right? So here, the human factor is something that it's hard to oversee, right?
It's the most important thing.
Yeah. So again, so we're very lucky that we have PMs that can build this trust, and they've proven this time over time. So it's not just
they take the time to communicate transparent, openly, and say what's going on, why it's taking as long as it's taking, or what the challenge is.
Yeah, so I can tell you, for instance, one thing that I thought that would be working very well, because we have special tools for organizing our work. We have these tools where every task is listed, and in every task you have a list of things. By the end of when this task is finished, the client will get this and this and this and this, right? The tickets, we call them tasks or tickets, right? They're updated, and the client has access to them. So if the client wants, they can actually go into this tool and see where things are. So let's say it's 3 a.m. our time, and the client is up. They can go and check it out.
Boom.
And that was my
invention.
I always tell no. It's a very common thing to do in our business, but I keep telling clients that go ahead and do this. They never do this.
Yeah, they just trust you at this point,
Yeah, I
they
guess,
have no
right?
need to.
But yeah, this never worked. I mean, they always work. So when is this going to be? Oh, what are you working on? So I open the tool and say, that's what I'm working on. That's what I'm working on.
Nice.
But they still prefer to ask a person and get the answer from a person.
And 100%. However, I'm sure they feel so good knowing that if I wanted, I could go in and check anytime.
Hopefully,
you know,
hopefully that's the
yeah,
case.
we'd have to ask our clients. But yeah, that is something very cool in your business then that you guys have.
I mean, we need to organize our own work, so it's not a wasted effort because that's how we work, and for us it's convenient, and for them, it could be.
Okay, Andrew. So let's take it back a little bit and like re-summarize the understanding of what we've got so far. So the pain points of our customers. One of the biggest pain points that our customers have is, or your customers, is you guys hire a team from another country or even in the same country. You get this issue anywhere, and you guys are building a software, an app, a website, whatever it is that you guys are helping create, and timelines are being pushed back, pushed out. You described some great system, like you guys have 2-week sprints that you use. You have procedures in place that help communicate with clients and within your team to keep things moving along and on schedule. You have an amazing, hardworking team that values their job. They all like each other, and you guys are able to communicate well. And so you guys are able to deliver consistently great results. And that's why you have clients that have stayed with you for very many.
And they recommend it to others. That's always.
And they recommend others even. Yeah, and that's not always so easy too. So that's huge.
Yeah.
What are some other pain points or challenges that clients that look for you guys to help solve and fix?
I spent a lot of time thinking about it, preparing for this conversation, but nothing really comes up as a general point, because it's usually specific things in the specific product that are painful for them, right? So there is either a feature missing, or it was done in a way that
by somebody else. It was done.
No. It could be done by us. It doesn't. It was, often the client will say, "Well, you know what? I need this and that, right?" And we build it for them, and they start using it. And after a while, they say, "This is really cumbersome and inconvenient." Right? So it's often their own idea that turns out to be just
not the best.
Not the best, exactly, right.
I talked to your business partner, Tom, and Tom said that oftentimes when a client comes to you guys with an idea or a business plan or a project, you guys do take the time to research already if it doesn't exist already.
True. That's true.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, this is something that Tomek often does, because I'm on the end where I work with the teams that were already working on the products, right?
So you're not client facing so much.
Well, I am once the client is already on board, right? Once we have a contract in place. But Tomek is our salesperson. So,
the first contact.
So he's actually the one that's making first contacts, and that's true. We've had many cases when a client comes with an idea and say, "Hey, I want to build this," and so the first time that Tomek or his team they research, well, is there anything like that already out there? And often there is. And we were very straightforward. We say, instead of spending thousands of dollars with us every week or every month, you can just buy a license for $100 a month,
and boom, you got it.
Have maybe not everything that you want, but hopefully it'll cover most of your needs.
And here's another amazing thing about the ethics of your team and your company. You guys do that, and then you spend time researching this, seeing if it exists, and then you guys are like, it's the right thing to do, not to tell the client like that it exists and take that money and nickel and dime, whatever. But you guys will tell them and like, okay, let's tweak it. Maybe we can make it different or whatever.
We value very much long-term relationships, and you cannot build a long-term relationship if you're trying to skim the money of your client any way you can. Right?
And I think that's one of the pain points that our clients might have, They go out and they'll hire a team in India or in Mexico or Latin America or in Southeast Asia or even in Poland, wherever it could be. Yeah, but it's very important to know who you're doing business with.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, one more thing that I wanted to, because communication in general, that's one of the obstacles, right? So because they're remote, we meet with them on video conferences most of the time. But I found every single time when we meet them in person, at least once, everything changes immeasurably in a favor of future communications. it's good if we can travel and meet them at their place, but it's even best if they come
here,
and see us.
see the team,
We
feel it, see
become
the
real.
office.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You know, it's, I don't know. I'm that person too. And if I see something with my own eyes,
changes everything.
it makes it's a complete different dimension. Right?
So that's what we got to solve for, Andrew, I think, in our businesses. Because in my business, very similar. And I know that if our clients come out to us and they see it, they experience it, then everything moves along much faster for both parties. And it's like, how can we get you guys to be more interested to come see our team, see our companies, experience Podlasia and the magic of Poland? Because we've seen time and time again, that is something that enhances both businesses tremendously every single time. So
Yes. So it doesn't have to be often, but that especially in the beginning, when the client doesn't know who we are, you know, coming and seeing, we have an office, we have people, we can go out and have dinner together, have some beers, and it's different conversation.
Changes everything. So okay, so we got client pain points. Things don't move as quickly as clients would like. Communication challenges, etc.
Right.
Trust, even basic trust, not basic, just trust, and any other pain points that a client out there might be feeling right now. Do you have like an ideal client maybe in your mind that might lead us to that question?
It's funny that you say that because I think all our clients turned out to be ideal.
Yeah.
You know? Although we had some challenges. We had some challenges in the past, so I do remember them. But the ones that are with us currently, the ones that stayed, are really good clients. Right? We have a new client, for instance, that we started working with at the beginning of this year, and the client, the product existed already. The product was developed by another team somewhere else in the world, right? And the client completely lost trust in that team, so they were looking for the replacement. I'm talking about actually the one that you read.
Yes, I helped introduce them.
Yes.
Yeah, and you guys have delivered amazing work.
And naturally, I think they were very suspicious from the beginning because they already had this bad experience, and so we had to prove ourselves that they can trust us and we'll build what they want. We also, here's another thing that's very important, that we never work in a sense that the client tells us, you have to do this and this, and we're just doing what they told us. We challenge them, right? We have our own ideas, right? So if we think that the client's idea is not the best or it's not going to give them return on investment, then we'll tell them that. And we try to convince them that this is so. And if after that they're still, no, I still want it, well, fine, right? I mean, they're paying the bill, so we'll do this. But very often they agree with us and say, yeah, you're right. Yeah, we shouldn't be spending money on that. So
I want to, Andrew, go even like specific. I remember this first conversation with them where, because generalization sometimes kill clarity. So I want to go very close into it. So, okay, I remember this first conversation, hearing the wife of the owner, who she also helps his business and she has her own business, saying that she was looking for advice on how to help scale and build a team overseas in another part of the world, in India, where they felt that like just everything was not moving along, all these errors, everything was going wrong. And this person who builds a lot of businesses, he was like a coach, he told her, it's very important to have super strong leaders. Like if you're building another company and you want to move your company and build another office in another city, or if you want to go into another part of the world, either one of the business owners has to go to that other city and start that office, or like you really need somebody like that you very trust, that have a lot of maybe incentives, I think, or reason for it to succeed. And like a strong leader. And so she took that advice, and I'm like, hey, I know some people that are really like ethical, great leaders, do great work and everything. And so I connected you guys, and few months later.
Yeah, the way that this relationship started, again, because the client had bad experience from the past, right? First day, we agreed on a very short-term contract, 1 month. They asked us to evaluate the product, not from product or usability point of view, because due to the nature of the product that was impossible, but they wanted us to evaluate code, how the work is organized, what procedures they use, and so we delivered this evaluation, let's say, and we had conversations with them. They had questions because they, just because we say that something is, let's say, bad, I myself would ask, well, why is it bad? Prove it to me, right? So I think that was the first part, that they believed what we said, and we were not bashing the other team. I mean, the other team did many things well, right? But I guess we gained so much trust in that first phase that they said, well, we want to go along with you. And they started really small. I think we had like 1 or 2 people maybe at the beginning. And the meetings with the client on video conference was pretty much daily.
Daily meetings.
Yeah,
at first.
maybe every other day. And it was, again, we had our best project manager on this.
You guys got your best project
Although
manager.
we only have best. Right?
All the best, yes. But somebody that's been with you guys who's proven themselves
Yes,
time and time again.
Absolutely. Yeah, she's worked with many clients, especially in the US, so she understood the challenges.
And if we could come right back to this, but real quick, when you guys evaluated this, what did that look like? Did you sit down with your PMs? Did you?
Well, no, the evaluation was done by our CTO. He did the technical evaluation, right? I looked at their processes and I kind of gave them feedback on what could be improved in terms of kind of, we call it software development life cycle. So it's not necessarily technical, but we had a write-up, something they could read at their own pace.
Okay, so you guys wrote like a 1-2 page paper?
Oh, it was more than that.
Oh, nice. Let's go.
Yeah. And then we met because they read it, and we met with them, and they had questions,
nice.
And I guess we are able, I suppose, to answer these questions. So plus, I mean, we wrote it ourselves, so we knew what we really believed what was in there, right? But so again, that was that first step, and right now it's a very successful.
How often are the meetings now?
The meetings, so it's funny you ask right now, because our PM told me last week. She said that the client said, "You know what? We don't need to meet anymore. I completely trust you."
Let's go. Let's go. That's huge. And how long have you guys been working with this client?
That started in
beginning of this
spring.
year?
Beginning of this year.
Started in spring because I remember it was like February.
Yeah,
I was in the US
like
when I.
Yeah. So probably April or when you actually started working.
And now we have the end of summer, beginning of fall.
Right, yeah.
And so how big's the team now? It started with 1 or 2 people?
The team right now, we have 4 people, 4.5 actually, because we just added a half-time QA engineer.
And this is in times of ChatGPT too. So ChatGPT is where you need less people, right, on teams.
Well, we're still trying to kind of figure out how the AI can help us, and the developers are using, programmers are using AI for sure. So it's still, this thing is so new, and I'm sure it's going to be, it is a revolution already. Right?
It is a revolution.
But you have to, like with any new tool, you have to learn how to work with this, right? So you can do many things well, but you cannot do many things wrong.
Yep.
And we've seen that too, right? If you rely fully on artificial intelligence and just blindly copy what it
tells you,
then you can quickly get lost
in trouble. You get lost in the swamps in the forest.
It's still. I mean, I'm a big proponent of artificial intelligence, and I think just because it writes things that we humans cannot understand. But if it does what the client wants, maybe that's okay. I don't know, right? Because we still have this approach that, it wrote this code that nobody can understand. Well, code is not for people to be understood. I mean, we wanted to understand it because we need to be working on it and fixing it and so on. And if you don't understand it, there's not much you can do, right?
So I'm curious.
That's a separate topic.
Yeah, that's a separate topic. Yeah. Okay, so we were talking about the conflicts and the challenges that our clients face. Talked a little bit about, we went into what product evaluation looks like, flow, work is organized. Okay, that's the example of client number one, on how they've grown. Where else can we go with this conversation, Andrew?
Okay, so I mentioned the quality assurance engineer that joined the team, right? This is another challenge that clients often don't understand the value that the QA brings to the project.
Okay, I don't for sure.
Yeah,
Tell me.
because they think, well, why am I going to be spending money on something that they assume that if we have good engineers, then the code will be perfect. But unfortunately, it's never like that, and it never will be like that. It's just too complex, right? And there's nothing worse than going to the market with a product that has low quality. Because even if you manage to sell it, your users will quickly
Start dropping.
They'll be frustrated. They'll pour
And you'll hurt reputation.
They pour your frustrations onto you, so they'll make things unpleasant to you. Plus, right now, people publish their opinions everywhere, and when you have tarnished reputation, when you get these bad reviews everywhere, bad opinions, that sticks, and getting out of it is close to impossible, right? I know companies that software houses, sorry, not software houses, but people that had idea for software went this way and said, yeah, we don't need QA, we want to rush to the market and so on.
Be the first ones.
And then it turns out, oh, this doesn't work, this breaks, and so on. And they wanted to continue. They had to change the name company and pretend that they're somebody else because they could not recover from the bad press. Yeah.
So
So this is something that I often, because I'm very big on quality. For me, quality is absolutely the most important thing in a product. So we talk to clients, and we don't force the issue, but we tell them how important it is, right? So for instance, with this client, the thing was that because it was an existing product and the quality was terrible, they actually had their clients dropping, right? Dropping the product. Very quickly, they noticed that, actually, we told them that, if we don't have somebody that's watching this quality of new things coming out, we'll never be sure that we're giving them anything good.
And if you could help me understand that. So you've got two, three coders that are coding the product, and you need another Q&A person to be checking, QA person, checking that code.
Right. Yeah.
Can you help me understand that?
Because, So for instance, remember I told you we have these tickets or tasks, right? Each one of them contains something that we call acceptance criteria. So it says, when this is done, the user will be able to do this. When the user clicks this button, this will happen. When the user enters this text and clicks button, this will happen. It very precisely describes what will user will be able to do when the coder says yes, it's done. So the programmer does that, right? But then QA takes it and checks it. Does it really do what it's supposed to do? And there are many usually edge cases. Let's say you have to enter your first name and last name and click enter, right? Well, but as a user, you can enter whatever you want. It doesn't have to be first name and last name, right? It could be, or let's say you have to enter an email, right? So we have to check, well, is it really an email? Or maybe you're putting some...
You just say hi.
Yeah, exactly. Or we have to also be, for security reasons, there are malicious users that might try to exploit various gaps in the application, maybe enter some viruses or something in your application and destroy it. So there are many other things that are not that obvious, right? Plus, and that's very important, when a programmer codes a new feature, he works or she works in an existing code base. And it very often happens that doing this breaks something else that was working before. Right? And that's where a QA comes in, because we have automated tests So the automated means you can just run thousands of tests within minutes or hours, depending on the complexity, right? So they
So you
check,
start
they
running all
not
these
only
tests.
check that, oh, this new thing is working as it's supposed to, this thing did not break
Anything else.
that was already working, right? That's we call them regression testing. It's very, very important, right? So for instance, when we release new versions of the product as often as we can, but also not too often, because before every release, we run a full regression. We basically check, has anything that was working before been broken, or is it still working, right?
Okay, so for every one of these 3 coders that you have developing this app, already built on an app, they come in and they start adding new things, changing things.
Right.
They don't have the time necessarily to go back and check if something broke. They don't have the time. They're going for it, and they're already focused on creating this thing, and it's a big distraction if at the same time they're checking these break things. And so it's a matter of measuring focus, where one person's the hunter up front hunting, looking for that animal, and another person is back home making sure the homestead is safe.
Yeah,
kind
I
of.
think it's
Maybe that's
a
a good
parallel.
metaphor. Yeah,
exactly.
Parallel.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because that hunter, he can't be guarding his homestead and hunting at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can't do. You're focused. It's impossible to do those two things. And so that's what you're saying here. It's impossible to those, or else you're going to be, okay, I'm going to go hunt. I take a shot. I come back. Everything's safe. I go back, hunt again. And it just completely knocks coders out of.
Yeah. So you said 3 to 1. I mean, for me, ideal ratio for my practice is 2 to 1, actually.
2 to 1.
Yeah,
2 attackers versus 2 defenders.
Like, quite often it happens that a coder will spend a day coding and a tester will spend 2 days testing. So it's often their effort is actually even larger than the effort of. I mean, it happens.
Yeah, I'm curious. How often do things break while the coder's doing it and the testers testing, or QAs checking?
Well, often.
Is it more like green light, like 90% green light, and this is broken?
No, I would say the regressions.
That's what they're called?
Yeah, the things that break. I'd say 10-15% of the time that happens.
Okay,
right? Yeah.
They're breaking.
It depends. It depends on the complexity of the thing that the coder is coding. It also depends on the focus and eye for detail of the programmer. Some programmers are
sloppy,
sloppier. Some are more focused. Right? It's like everything in life. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's another thing is that we have these things called bugs. They're like defects. Right? Something is not working the way it's supposed to. The users will report to us, or our QA will find these bugs, and these bugs will have to be fixed. Right? So it's not like in the previous one I was telling you that we're building something new. Here we're fixing something, right? And here it happens even more often that you fix one thing and in a process you break something else, right?
That's the difference between well-made code, where you're doing things and it's not breaking anything else.
Exactly.
Versus
this is why it's so important that the code is well written. If a human needs to find these places, if it's well written, it's easier to find, right?
Okay.
And that's
so
why
it's better to do it do it right the first time.
Absolutely.
And that's probably one of your strong suits, it sounds like.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I absolutely think so, yeah. Again, going back to AI, because it's hard to escape this topic, is our developers that have been trying to use AI say the code produced by AI is often very hard to read, right? So if you take this code and then you have to fix it, it makes it so much harder. So for instance, if it's a well-written code and you're fixing a defect, it might take you a couple of hours. But then if you go into a code that's really badly written, it can take you a couple of days. So you got your first shot quicker, but then maintenance becomes more expensive, right? But then we had this discussion recently, maybe developers don't need to fix it. Maybe the AI will fix it and will write the code that humans don't understand.
Maybe, but it's not there yet.
It's not there yet, yeah. And it's like, it's going back to trust. We have to have this trust that, yes, this thing is already doing it.
Yeah, because the way it's coding, all your people and like seniors are like, dude, this makes no sense coding this way, right? It's breaking all the rules.
Yeah, it's if you don't write code, it's hard to explain what the good code versus bad code means. But yeah, it's bad in this case means that the developers who are used to reading code organized in a certain way, they open it and they can't read it.
Got it.
They get lost in it, right?
Okay, so now I understand why QA is worth having somebody QA with you, and why it's maybe not the best idea to go and just full on ChatGPT your product or business.
Absolutely, not yet at least.
Not yet. This is early days of it, and so if you go in and hire somebody that's just hire a coder and make it all on ChatGPT, you might end up in a storm of later bugs and challenges and breaks.
Yeah, we again, this is new and we're stepping into it very carefully, so we don't have anybody that would just jump right into 100% use of not necessarily ChatGPT but any other models of that sort. But we've seen code written by ChatGPT, and it's not perfect yet.
I imagine that every customer that doesn't know too much about coding IT is going to be saying no, just go ChatGPT, just go with it, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, we have that. Yeah, we even have.
So now this is a conversation that you guys are having regularly.
It's not only news, even with our oldest clients who are very enthusiastic about this new revolution. They even force us. They say, "Hey, go use it.
Run with it.
Yeah, run with it. Maybe you'll develop faster." Right?
And so there's some risks, but there's some breakthroughs.
And I'm not saying we're the best. We're learning that too.
Everyone's learning. The whole world is.
Exactly. So yeah, but we're not shying away from this. We know that this is a new tool that can be already
enhanced. Yeah, and maybe you need more QA people now than coders.
For me, ideal would be one-to-one, honestly, right? But it's
hard to convince clients.
It's hard to find QA people too. I mean,
hard to find QA people because it's not fun.
Well, that depends. I guess I find it fun, but yeah, I suppose it has.
Less rewarding.
It's perceived as less glamorous.
It's like the soccer player Lewandowski scoring goals versus the defender or the goalie.
That's a perfect idea. That's
perfect metaphor.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
The defenders.
You did a good job. You didn't let the goal happen. Oh, you stopped them from getting a goal. Yeah, keep going. Go score a goal now. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But you don't have them, then you see what happens.
Yeah. If you miss it, what the heck? You're not doing your job and stuff. Oh man,
that's a very good metaphor.
Okay.
I like that.
Got it. Wow. Interesting times. Interesting business.
Yeah. So how about you? I mean, listening to what I said, do you find any parallels, any similarities?
The nature of our business is a lot. It's more human facing. So we don't have projects necessarily that it's the work and just get the work done. So we have different positions. We have carrier sales, customer operations sales, and we have track and trace mostly. And so yeah. So what are when I speak the challenges that our clients have is communication and trust, number one. So it's a remote team. Will you have a good leader in the office with the team? And how well are they able to solve challenges that happen with your trucking companies, or how well are they able to move the shipments and the freight that you have? So let's take it from level one. I guess we have kind of a progression system where you start with track and trace level one, and a new person starts here and they start learning the business. And so what they're doing is there's say 100 loads that are picking up this hour. And so we have 17 people, 20 people that are calling on these loads and making sure that are they getting picked up on time? Is the paperwork, did everything get accepted? Are there rejections? Are the pallets? And then ours are probably the most unique in the world, where our track and trace people actually start solving the problems for the other levels. so that the other levels can focus on creating more value, more money, where our track and trace team is not just, oh, there's a problem and hands off the problem. There's a problem and we're solving 80, 90% of the problems, and then we hand it off. And so that being me having come from working at one of the bigger, better freight brokers in America, Coyote, which was then sold to UPS, and then having owned a trucking company, I understand it from both sides. And this, and then the nature of me, like my zodiac sign's a Libra, a scale. So like I'm always like I enjoy balancing both parties. And the big problem in our business is that freight brokers and trucking companies, they kind of view each other as enemies in a lot of ways. And so a track and sales, like a typical track and trace person from a company that just hires people, just do the job real quickly, they'll call, and the driver's like at delivery, and they'll call, or like he's gonna be late for delivery, and they'll call and, hey, why are you gonna be late? And they start like hounding him, you got to be there on time or they're gonna close. And they start getting angry at this driver, and this driver's sleepy, tired, all these things, and he starts like, fuck you, man. And sorry for the language, but we work with drivers. That's the language they use, you know what I mean? And so now they get into the receiver in the warehouse. They come in angry, and then all this anger builds up, and suddenly you can have like a bad situation happen. So a lot of it is being able to empathize with the drivers and like communicate to them how they're feeling first, hear them, listen to them, and then work with them together on a solution, instead of like, dude, just do your job, get out, you got to get there on time and stuff. And so
but I would think that in your case, the challenge is the difference between time zones is a huge challenge, right? Because you're here in Poland, and the drivers you're describing are in the US. Right?
You're right.
And they probably work 24 hours around the clock, right? And
so we have shifts, but the bulk, 80% of our shift, is actually working Poland time from 2 p.m. until 11 p.m. midnight.
I see.
And sometimes we stagger that. So for young people, it's amazing for working in our career and job, I suppose, because in the mornings they get to experience sunlight. Nobody's in the city. They can get things done, and it's really nice. No traffic, etc. And then once like traffic, people starts coming home, they're already at their computer starting work. And when they finish work, after work, you tend to be tired and stuff. I go to sleep, and boom. So that's like the advantage of working with us. But if you have a family and you got to pick kids up from school and things like that, the world's not designed to be super convenient. So you got to leave the office. I got to go pick up my kids and then that's when challenges start to happen.
I see. Because I suppose even if a company like yours operates physically in America, for a driver, it doesn't make much of a difference whether he's on the phone with somebody in Houston or somebody in Białystok, right?
Yeah, as long as that person can help them, help solve their challenge.
So in terms of helping solving challenges, are there any challenges for you? Is it easier to solve these problems when you're physically in the US versus when you're physically in Poland?
For many years now, since like computers, since phones really, in this business, things were done mostly over the phone in a way, like negotiations, solving problems, getting directions, all these things were done remotely. So the only thing is, like, if you had these people, maybe not in Poland, but you had them in the office, and you did have a situation where someone was an asshole over the phone to the driver comes back to the office, sees you, and now you're going to think twice about being an asshole, you know what I mean? Where sometimes you get this courage behind the screen, you know what I mean? So it's like the Yorkie behind the fence that's barking, and then the German Shepherd comes and like, excuse me, Yeah, so that's maybe the only example.
I see.
Yeah. But yeah, it's cool. I mean, I feel a huge passion for, since having moved to Poland, just seeing how many, smart, hardworking young people there are here that speak amazing English, that just like love the idea and the opportunity of helping work for a U.S. company and those opportunities, and having brought so many opportunities and jobs for young people in our city, in our country, like for me, that makes me so happy. And then for having helped so many people in my other country, like half and half scale, in the U.S., and helping so many great businesses that where prices are going up in the U.S., things are like becoming so challenging and difficult, where we can offer a solution that's, in my opinion, even higher quality than what you can get in the U.S. or neighboring countries for less of the price. It used to be half. Now we're increasing prices, but yeah, it just makes me so happy to be able to help people on both fronts, and I think that's why I love what I do so much.
All right.
Yeah. So, Andrew, we did cover. Do you feel we covered
I think
pretty
so.
well?
Yeah, I think so. I absolutely think so.
Because the goal was working with remote teams,
Right,
and we talked about what it's like working with remote teams.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch. Remember, at the beginning, I said that there are 2 points of view, right? We so far, I feel we concentrated on the pain points of customers, but we have our own.
Nobody listens to us. Yeah. So.
I mean, our major pain points are communications in terms of often we need to clarify something and so on, and if it has to be done over chat or video conference, and the client is 9 hours away, well, that's something that sometimes we have to wait for a day before we get our answer. And often they're not they have other old things
going on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they're not just waiting for us to come with a question. Right?
Wow.
So that's why I think it's so important that we plan ahead, and we have our work planned at least several weeks ahead of time. So the project managers come here again because they prepare. We have this system where they prepare very rigorous documentation. We call them feature specs, when they describe exactly what needs to be coded and produced. We give those specs to the clients so they can read and see, yes, that's what I want. Honestly, clients often don't read them, but we want them, right? So when you write a spec, you ask yourself questions that need to be answered, because you need clarity. When you need to very specifically write what needs to be done, you have to understand what it is. So because of that, the PMs, project managers, they start on this work early, and when they have a question, they can afford to wait for a few days because there's ongoing work.
Other things to do.
Exactly, and the programmers and the QA engineers, they're not just sitting on their hands waiting for
your reply, etc. Exactly, there's plenty of work to be done.
So this is kind of obvious and maybe a minor thing to do, but it's very important, right? Yeah. If you wait until the last moment, and I've been there when let's say a new feature is described vaguely or without sufficient details, and the programmer starts coding and says, "Oh, what about this? What should happen then?" And then you ask the client, and the client is in bed.
Yep. You don't hear from them.
Does his own job, and the programmer for a few days has nothing to do.
It's blocked in stock.
Yeah. So that's how it's so important that it's all kind of planned ahead, and that the programmer's working, project managers is preparing them new tasks, and he or she need to understand exactly what needs to be done.
In these little details is the difference.
Absolutely,
it's the little details.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know it until you actually face those problems, and they often don't become obvious right away. They kind of
you don't know until you've done many years of it in business.
It's spoiling, right? It doesn't happen very quickly.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Absolutely. And that's the difference in basketball. Anybody can shoot a basketball, make it, but it's those little differences about how they align their hand, the way they, and then swish, swish. It keeps going in, but that takes years of knowing and making those little tweaks. And I think that's like what a company like yours that's been in business 15, 16 years, you see those little differences, and sometimes those are hard to describe and communicate to a client over the phone.
It's not only seeing them; it's knowing that they exist, and kind of. I always say that what makes the difference between a junior and a senior in any business is that senior knows what the problems are around the corner, and he prevents them from happening. Right?
Yeah. Love that. Wow. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful world.
Oh.
What a beautiful life.
Oh, we lost our background crew.
Yeah, background crews went to go grab breakfast, maybe. Closing thoughts that we want to wrap up with?
You caught me here.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't talk about our pain points enough. I feel like, you know.
Oh, I did say at the end about mine,
we did
right?
say, yours, the time difference, right?
Well,
Yeah.
the time difference is kind of just the foundation of it. But the problem is that we need answers from the clients, right? And the time difference makes them come slower.
So you wish, like, your life would be easier if clients were aware of this, cognizant of this, and
I think,
worked with you better.
What I think I mentioned, because we know about them.
You already know how to solve it.
We prepare or we think about these questions way before they
ever even arise.
Become important, and we need to have the answer. So we ask them just early enough.
Love it, love it, love it. Andrew, this was so much fun. I learned so much. Especially between QAs and developers and the attacker versus defender metaphor,
project managers.
Hunter, and project managers and their value in the communication. And I understand your world a lot better. So thank you. I also have a little software in the back of my head, so that I love listening and learning. And I hope this is not the last one that we've done.
I'm sure it's not. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Let us know what you guys thought, how you liked it. If there's any questions you have, drop them down below. Let us know. And we hope to be creating more content from the Blue Rider team, from the Whitestone Talent team, to bring more value to you guys, our customers. Let's rock and roll. Signing.